Welcome to this episode of the In My Era podcast. Guys, this episode's a little bit different. If you can see me on video, which hopefully everyone can, if I can do it correctly this week, I'm painting today. And you might be like, Haley, it looks like you are looking at a canvas as you speak with already a picture on it. Well, guess what? We're repainting it, okay? I do this thing with all of the paintings in my house that I have made, where every 6 months I will just cover them in white paint and redo it and start from the beginning. And I've decided that today is the day that I am doing that again because it's raining outside and I don't really know what else to do. As usual, I figured, dude, after this paint stops farting, 1 second. I figured as usual we'll start off today with a little life update. So, let's see, life update. You guys heard from me last week, kind of. I had a really difficult time with the pod last week because I recorded it and then I ran out of storage. So I was not able to upload the video, but I liked the audio episode, so I just still uploaded it. So that's what that was. I think I want to put a little bit more effort into this podcast. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. This is a fun hobby for me. I have a good time recording these episodes and bringing friends in to talk. It's interesting, especially to look back on my life. I don't know, it's weird, but I love it. So I've been enjoying that. I've been teaching a little bit more yoga sculpt classes just through subbing some people's when they're sick and traveling, which has been fun. I love teaching yoga sculpt. That is one of my favorite things ever. I feel sometimes I'll show up at 6 in the morning. Well, actually guys, I get there at 5:20. When I teach at 6, I show up at 5:20. And I prepare and drink my Celsius. And in the mornings, I'm always oh man, not really feeling it today. I don't really know how this is gonna go. And then when class is over, I am so hyped. I have such a good time teaching class that it just makes my day every single day that I do it. Even when I'm convinced that I'm not going to like it or that I'm gonna have maybe a rough day, it's always good. Today, though, in class, I won't lie, guys, I did make a mistake. I forgot to do one of the exercises, on the other side. I did it on the right side, but not the left. And so, halfway through class, I was guys, we can't forget to do the other side. And I made everyone redo it. And they kind of looked like they wanted to kill me, but, I'm not perfect. So, that happened. What else? Okay, I haven't told my parents this, but if you're listening, hi! I quit my job. And you might be what do you mean you quit your job? I still work at the yoga studio, teaching yoga classes, but I quit, Viore. I was working at Viore part-time, and it was a great job, great company, great discount. Would highly recommend, honestly, to everyone who wants a part-time job. Everyone wants a part-time job. Work at Viore. Anyways, I quit Viore. I feel was it the best decision? Debatable. Because do I still need to make an income? Yes. And I'm applying to other jobs, but I kind of just feel I outgrew it. It became one of those things where I dreaded showing up every day, even though the job was good and my coworkers are amazing. I just feel I had completely just outgrown it. And so I'm currently looking for a new job. We'll see. I'm trying to apply for big girl jobs. So far, no luck. I'll keep you guys updated, though. I'm just trying to honestly, cut back on my expenses and live off of my yoga money. So, hence the painting. It's a free project, and it's extra free because I already had this canvas. I'm just painting over it, which is, so girl math. Makes sense. But yeah, I quit my job. Didn't tell my parents because I knew that they'd be Haley, we told you not to quit before getting a new job, but technically I have a job. I work at Yoga Box, so I haven't told them yet. Hopefully they don't find out through this. Hopefully I tell them first, so we'll see. What's up, Dad? What's up, Ryan? Stepmom. This week is like the first full week of classes for me. And all of my classes are asynchronous and online. So that doesn't really mean much for me, except that I have to do homework now before I go to bed. So nothing crazy there. I am heading up to LA this weekend to see my stepmom and her friends. Every year they go on like a girls trip somewhere, and I convinced them to come to California so that I could go too, because this is the first year that I'm 21, so I can finally drink, go to the bars, be involved in adult activities. I'm really excited to see her in LA. She texted me a couple of days ago and was like, hey, like, I think I'm gonna get a tattoo when I'm in LA. Do you want one? And I was like, what? Because my parents are like not tattoo people. Like, when I turned 18, I got a tattoo. It says lover behind my left elbow. And my parents were like, why did you do that? Like, they didn't. So I was surprised, basically, is all I'm saying, to hear my stepmom say that she is getting a tattoo and offering if I want one as well. And just so you guys are aware, yes, I am getting one. I think I'm going to get a little baby sun, like tiny, on my little wrist, you know? Let's see, what else do we have? I feel like right now I'm doing good. Like, I'm not stressed. And I think it's because I've kind of let go a little bit of my idea of control. And I feel like it's helped me a lot. And I kind of want to talk about it a little bit more with you guys. Basically, growing up, I've always kind of had control issues. I don't really know why. Just kidding, I totally do. I think it's because I like to feel in control of the things that I can control. And for some reason, I would love to believe that I can control a lot of things that I just can't. So, stressing out about finding a new job. I'm like, dude, I am stressing out. I'm stressing out. But I'm also applying to jobs nonstop. Like, I'm going in person and like leaving my resume and introducing myself. I'm applying online. Like, I am doing, I would say, everything that I can do right now to find a job. And my natural state is to stress out, like, nonstop until I find a job. But recently I've just been kind of letting go and trusting that everything is going to work out when it's meant to work out, as long as I am putting in my best effort, always. So every single day I make a goal to apply for 7 jobs. Doesn't matter if they're big girl jobs or just random jobs, just in general, I apply for jobs. And other than that, I let go. Like, I'm like, you know what? Like, I can only control how many jobs I apply to, how hard I work, and whatever. So I'm going to do my best there, and everything else, I'm just going to understand that, like, it will work out. I'm going to find another job, and I'm going to be fine. My parents, some might argue that is maybe not the brightest, but I feel like the idea itself is helpful. Like, just the idea of letting go. It's natural for me to also kind of want to control, like, what everyone else is doing. Like, if I have, let's say, like, a boyfriend or, like, a best friend, like, I'll be like, okay, like, did you go to your doctor's appointment? Like, have you scheduled your doctor's appointment yet? Like, have you enrolled in your classes? Like, I'm very much, like, I like to keep up on the people that I love and, like, kind of keep them accountable for their things. But I've also just realized that just does not create healthy relationships and lasting friendships. So I have also let go of that. If my boyfriend doesn't want to go to the doctor, I mean, dude, that is totally his opinion. I am not going to be, like, up his ass telling him to go to the doctor. If my best friend doesn't, want to do her homework today, I'm going to be like, you know what? Don't do your homework today, girl. Do whatever you need to do. But I can't control you. I can only control a few things in my life. So as long as I'm doing that to the best of my ability, I'm just going to let go of the rest. I don't know if I have stepped into that mindset because I've become slightly more spiritual than I have been in the past. Like, I'm just a little bit more, like, I trust in the universe, or God or whatever higher power is out there that like I'm gonna be okay as long as I'm doing my best. So yeah. This painting is a lot harder to cover up than I had originally thought, especially because I am basically all out of white paint, except for the fact that it's all over my fingertips. So we're just gonna, cover up the layers. Let's get in here. It's like a freaking monsoon outside right now. San Diego is really nice because like it has great weather year round, but sometimes in the winter it does go off a little bit. Like today, the streets were flooding so bad that cars were like halfway submerged. Like almost all of the streets around my job were flooded, and I had to take Megan to work because she got a flat tire this morning. Unfortunate. Anyways, sorry Meg for laughing. Oh, I don't know. It's weird. I have come to the conclusion that being in your young 20s sucks. And everyone has it painted out to be that like your 20s are the best years of your life. But I just don't think that they are. I think that they're really hard and really confusing and stressful. I'm not a big partier, so I'm not that big into the whole concept of like, oh my god, your 20s are just for having fun. I don't think that that's the case. I think the 20s are the perfect time in your life to set the rest of your life up for success. I think that it's really important to invest in yourself and in the things that you want to do for the rest of your life, because if you just waste your 20s partying and hooking up with random people and not like fostering real connections and real meaning in your life, then you're gonna wake up one day when you're 35 and all your friends are gonna be married and you're gonna be like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? So yeah. Do I know what I meant to say by that? No, not really. Oh, flip. Okay. Let's see here. Like, balance, please. Stop. Okay, let's use this guy. I naturally kind of have a lot of anxiety. I don't really know how much I've talked about my anxiety online, but maybe now's a good time to get into it. Basically, I've talked about vaguely before and, not getting into that, but I had like a semi-rough childhood where I kind of was always constantly living in like a state of anxiety and like fight or flight. And so that developed into a little bit of an anxiety disorder. In high school, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Basically, my doctor was just like, yeah, she's like abnormally anxious. Like, she's not like, just normal anxious. Like, she's like a little bit abnormal, okay? And we realized that because I started like having really, really bad panic attacks whenever I was at school. I would like, half of my body would go numb. One time I like collapsed and fell over because half of my body went numb because I was having such a bad panic attack. I would like disassociate in class where I felt like I was just like looking at my body and I would freak out. I couldn't focus on anything that I was learning because I literally felt like I was dying. So yeah, it was pretty bad. And it made school pretty hard to go to because I felt really embarrassed every time that I had a panic attack, because me having a panic attack would end in me uncontrollably sobbing because it was such a scary feeling for me. So after like having to go home a few times, my parents took me to the doctor and I told my doctor what was happening, and she was like, yeah girl, like you have anxiety. So I got on, I think, Zoloft when I was 15 after I was diagnosed, and I started going to therapy. And therapy really helped. Also, I think the Zoloft helped for a while. And then I was on that for like the rest of high school, beginning of college. When I moved to San Diego, I was ghosted by my therapist. I think she was going through a divorce, so yeah, she just like stopped responding to my texts, but it was fine. And then my anxiety kind of got better, and I got off of my antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication that I had been on like since high school, and everything was fine and dandy there. My anxiety has been a lot better since moving to Southern California. It wasn't at first. At first I got like a lot more anxious, but overall, like through time, and just kind of growing up and learning how to manage it through therapy and exercise, I have just felt a lot better. So I am no longer on medication for my anxiety, but it still does affect me. I would say I have like a pretty anxious, natural mindset. So whenever there's a little bit of stress in my life, or if there's like issues in any sort of way, like if I'm having issues with my friends, or like if there's a boy that I like and I don't know, he doesn't like me or he's playing with me, whatever, I will be really anxious and I will like tend to lose it. And I think my anxiety makes me a more emotional person, because like I just feel things a little bit deeper. My mom used to say that like I was an empath. Like I can just like feel people's feelings. And I would say that that is true. But yeah, anxiety has definitely been something that has controlled a lot of my life so far. And I think I made a YouTube video about it this last year, about how low-key exercise has just almost completely cured it. And I think that's why I like working out so much and certain workout classes and running, because if I'm consistent with working out, it keeps my mind balanced. And I notice, like, if I don't go for a few weeks, or if I have a few off days, like, I can tell. Like, I just don't feel as mentally stable, honestly. I think one of the hard things about anxiety and mental health issues is, like, how they impact your relationships. I feel like I have come such a long way in learning about my anxiety and how to handle it, but I feel like a lot of relationships in my life have struggled from it. I feel like I've definitely lost friends as a byproduct of my issues with anxiety, and that's rough. Sometimes I feel like my anxiety just makes me feel like the worst version of myself, which I don't know if people can relate to that, but it's like a really shitty feeling to feel like kind of out of control in the way that you're feeling. So, I don't know, if anyone out there is going through that, you are not alone. Sometimes I definitely feel like that. I've also had my friends tell me that sometimes my emotions scare them, which is not a fun thing to hear, but I also like understand it because I'm a very like emotional person. So like if I get my feelings hurt, like I'm going to ugly cry. And I think friends feel bad because like people want to help, but sometimes like you just gotta cry it out. Like I'm someone who crying means nothing to me. Like I will cry if I see an old man on a date with his wife. Like I will cry if I see a mother crying. Like I just cry sometimes. It's no big deal. But I think it's because of my anxiety. So, yeah. Therapy has been really helpful for that. I've learned a ton of really good tips and tricks through therapy. I think I've talked about this before, but right now I'm literally using BetterHelp, like the online platform that like sponsors every single podcast, except this one. Yo, BetterHelp, hit me up when you're ready. Because yeah, I use BetterHelp, and right now I really like it. My therapist is honestly really funny, and I feel like I relate to her in a lot of ways, and it's really cool. So yeah, art is also something that helps with my anxiety, just any form of creative expression, and being off of my phone. Sometimes I'll be on my phone, and I swear to God, like my TikTok For You page, it'll just like show me things that I just don't want to see. Like it'll trigger me for like a whole day, and I'll have to like be off my phone for like 3 days after that. But yeah, I technically have generalized anxiety disorder. What else? I am highly emotional, highly sensitive, possibly an empath, whatever that means. Yeah, I don't know. Fun facts about me, I guess. This has taken up my whole bottle of white paint, which kind of makes me wonder, like, what am I going to do with this painting that is not going to involve white paint? Because I don't want to leave to buy more because it is literally a monsoon outside. Like, seriously, I haven't seen it rain this hard in San Diego since there was a hurricane a couple months ago. So, yeah, like, maybe I'll just take a break. Let the white dry, and then we'll come back on and see what this ends up being. Alright? This was just like 20-something minutes of me painting a white canvas. Highly therapeutic, guys. I would recommend it. I'm gonna rinse off my hands, and then we'll catch you later. Guys, okay, welcome to part 2 of this little painting podcast situation. Guys, you don't know this, but a whole ordeal just took place, okay? I just Bro, so sorry. I just recorded, like, the whole rest of the podcast episode, like, started painting, got into it, really got into the flow, just for the mic to not be recording anything. And then, after I realized the mic wasn't recording, I took a step back and realized I got yellow paint all over my favorite sweatshirt. Guys, it's the sweatshirt from The Bar, and it literally just says The Bar in black. My roommate Megan gave it to me. It's my favorite thing. I wear that sweatshirt more than any clothing item that I own. If you have seen me in the last couple of months, you have seen me in that sweatshirt. And I got yellow paint all over it. Like, yellow acrylic paint. I was like, oh my god. What did I do? Well, I had to get to work. I literally, guys, picture this, no shirt on because I'm wearing it, over the sink, scrubbing guys, long story short, I think I got out all of the yellow paint, but that was like a 30-minute intermission. Let me explain to you guys where I am at with the painting. Here we are, for those of you that are watching video. It says, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." I think I'm gonna put the whole song, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away." Okay, cool. Sorry you guys had to hear that, but that's what I'm gonna do on this canvas. Okay. You might be like, Haley, why? Why are you putting that on a painting? And it's because it's been on my mind a lot recently, the song, and like what it means to me. And it's actually very vulnerable and low-key kind of emotional for me to talk about, but let's discuss, okay? Basically, my mom used to sing that song to me when I was little. So when she would put me to bed, she would sing me that song, and when I was like, I don't know, 5 or something, she got me a bracelet that said, "You are my sunshine" on it. And ever since then, like, that song has always just, like, meant so much to me. It's one of those songs where, like, if it catches me off guard and it randomly comes on, I don't know when that lullaby or baby song randomly comes on, but it happened once. It'll bring me to tears. I'll start crying, I'll get in my feels, and that is why. And I've been thinking about it a lot recently because I feel like the sun, like, as a symbol, just means a lot in my life. It's also, I think, like I said, the tattoo that I'm gonna get on my wrist, like a little baby sun. It just means a lot to me. And we'll get into why in this second half of the episode, alright? So, since I saw you guys last, I had a mental breakdown, an almost job interview. Oh my god. everyone's texting me right now. And I don't even really have that many friends, so I like when they do that. It's so funny whenever I'm recording. But, yeah, kind of eventful 24 hours. I was supposed to have a job interview, and then I drove there, and I saw the building and the area and what the job would be like, and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. Luckily, I arrived 30 minutes early, so I called them, and I just let them know, like, hey, like, something came up, I'm not going to be able to make it, but thank you, and I didn't go into the interview. And then I drove to my favorite spot in La Jolla, and I had a mental breakdown about, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my life? Like, seriously? How am I going to have a career? What am I going to do? Spiraled about that until I called, like, all of my best friends. And then the last one was just like, Haley, like, you're good. Like, it'll work out. Just go have fun. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go have fun. So I went for a run, and I have been feeling better since the run. And then you guys know about what happened with this podcast recording so far, so yeah. But I wanted to talk about social media and how I feel like social media has saved my life. And I know what you're thinking. Haley, what the fuck? That is not normally something that comes out of people's mouths. You know, like, after they talk about social media, like, saved your life? How? Like, that doesn't really make sense. And let me explain, you guys. So, whatever, like, I've made a bunch of little baby comments about the first, like, 14-ish years of my life were relatively rough and traumatic, honestly. No one to blame, it was rough, alright? And social media was an escape for me. It was a tool that took me out of my current situation. And what I mean by that is I wasn't ever able to physically leave my circumstances. I was always there. There was always chaotic things happening around me. I was always in fight or flight. I never really felt safe. But, guys, I'm not even kidding. I would put on YouTube and I would watch, like, Tanner Fox and FaZe Rug and the FaZe Clan members. Don't ask why. I don't know why. And I would watch them and I felt safe. It felt like I was, like, transported out of my environment and I was just somewhere else. And you might be like, how did that save your life? I'm getting there, guys. Basically, Tanner Fox and FaZe Rug, the people that I watch, like, the most on YouTube, they grew up in San Diego, or, like, their videos were mostly based in San Diego. And I saw what life was like out here. I was like, wow, like, it looks so fun there. Like, they do such cool, like, outdoor activities. It just, that seems like the place that I want to be. And so, from when I was a little kid, like, in my room, using my mom's phone to watch Tanner Fox, like, scared about my safety or worried about, like, what I was going to eat next, I was like, I want to go there. I want to go to San Diego. I want to do what these guys are doing. And they were, like, scooterers. I never wanted to be a professional scooterer, but I knew I wanted to come to California. So, in high school, I worked really hard for my grades and my standardized testing, and I made sure that I had everything in line to get into a San Diego or a California college. So that kept me out of trouble in high school. Like, I was a really good kid, didn't get into any trouble. I worked really hard in high school because I wanted to come to California. And then my senior year, I got into actually every school that I applied for, except I got waitlisted at Chapman, which was honestly really upsetting because for some reason Chapman was, like, my dream school. Don't know why. Now, looking back, I would have been miserable there, and I'm so glad that I didn't go. But in the moment, I was like, damn, I didn't get in. I ended up choosing San Diego State University because it was the cheapest out-of-state option for me, because for some reason I only applied to schools that were like $80,000 a year. And then when it actually came down to making the decision, I was like, wait a minute, I should probably like think about the cost, you know? So I chose SDSU, which is actually a really, really great school, and it's actually relatively hard to get into. So good for me. I moved here 3 years ago, and I have loved every single part of it. Genuinely, like, I love it here. I think what it is about like San Diego and like being in California, and for me social media, is that it gave me something to work for. It gave me something to have as a goal, and it made me feel safe. And so it took me one way or another out of the environment that I was raised, and it brought me here. And I feel like now every single day I wake up and I am so grateful every single day, even the bad days. Like, honestly, today was kind of a rough day. I'm like, at the end of the day, like, I am living my dream. Like, I always wanted to be here. I always wanted to be posting things online. And you might be like, okay, why do you post so much online? Why do you do X, Y, Z? I don't know. I don't really know if maybe you're thinking that. I have no idea. But ever since I was little and I watched Tanner Fox and FaZe Rug, I was just like, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to put parts of my life on the internet, because maybe there are little boys and little girls at home and they don't have the best home life. You know, they're not safe. And maybe like them like watching this can give them hope for their future, like it did for me. I feel like social media in a way showed me a little bit of my purpose. And I think that that's rare. I don't think that most people feel like social media did that for them, but I feel like it did that for me. I follow a bunch of like just like positivity people on social media. They talk about like how everything that happens is for a reason. There's a purpose, and that things will always work out for you. And I do genuinely personally believe that everything happens for a reason, and that everything will always work out exactly how it's meant to for your highest good. I think if you were to tell me that the majority of things that I went through in my life, I would have been like, you are, I don't know, crazy, but it's true. I make it my purpose every single day when I wake up to be the absolute best human that I can be to other people in the world. And what I mean by that is, I mean, yes, honestly, I have bad days sometimes where I just am not the most positive person, but to everyone outwardly in the world, I would like to think that I am like a bright person. If I have the opportunity to hold the door for someone, I am always going to hold the door. Or for like as many people as possible. Like, I do not care. I will never be the person that like awkwardly closes the door right as you're about to go through it. Like, I will always hold it open, smile. Whenever I'm on a walk and I'm like passing someone, I always make an effort to look them in the eyes and smile at them, because the little human interactions affect us so much more than I think most of us realize. And I've realized that from my own life. Like, if I'm having a bad day, I know one day I was having a really bad day and I was out on a walk, and this lady just looked at me and smiled, and it was such a genuine smile that I felt happier after she smiled at me. Like, it just reminded me of like, okay, whatever I'm experiencing isn't that big. It's okay, it's gonna be okay, like, we are all just people. And so I make it my whole mission to be the best person that I can be when I leave the house. Does that mean that I'm perfect? No. Sometimes I flip people off when I'm driving. Sometimes. Not often though, but sometimes, rarely, maybe will happen. I just think, social media has been a really cool outlet for me to be vulnerable and share some of the lessons that I have learned, and even make friends who are kind of thinking similarly. So I am really grateful for social media. Despite all of the negative effects that it has, I feel like it really does help me kind of find my potential and be a very positive version of myself. So yeah, there is that. There's my little dose of vulnerability and my experience with social media. That being said, am I going to go on social media after I post this? No. I think today's the kind of day where I need a break from it. I'll probably read my book, The Defining Decade. Everyone, oh my god, I just got caught on my cabinet. I have it right here. Guys, look at it. Here it is. I recommend everyone go buy The Defining Decade and read it. It is amazing. And shout out Sophia and some random guy I went on a date with once for recommending it. Alright, that being said, I think I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to work on my You're My Sunshine painting and chill out. But if you've made it this far, I love you guys. I am so grateful for just being able to talk about my life and honestly having friends and family who really care about listening. Shout out all of my aunts and uncles and friends and ex-roommates who listen. I love you guys. And I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.